What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a very long-awaited Clix conversation. Today's guest is none other than the two-time, back-to-back Majestix 2K Invitational champion, Anthony Barragan. Woo!
Hello.
Buddy. It's been a long time. This is the first time we're doing a podcast or anything on like this, right?
Yeah.
You'd like the most you've done is just write an article.
I got to go on a podcast with Jeff and
Okay, but
Clay
not
and
with
them.
me.
Not with you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, let's just jump right to it. You're a the champ. You know, it's like if you look at your plaque, which is it's getting remade, obviously, it just says winner on it, and that's why I was like, dude, when I sent it to them, it's supposed to say champion. So I was like, did I write winner? And I looked at the email, and it's like, oh, it's totally our fault. It's like, oh man. It's like, dude, because the winner is just so like like there's people who are like winner, like you win or you're first place, but champion, that's like a different connotation, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we definitely have to put that on there, right? You have to be a champ on there. You're not just a regular winner, you're a champion. So let's just jump right into your team, and then we'll go over the event. So I'm gonna share the screen here. Let's take a look here. Boom, Wendigo bomb. All right, I think you can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is on the HC units, obviously. And you've been on Wendigo for a while. Like you play this in the ICQ, and you've been playing like variants of Wendigos just in general, as has a lot of have a lot of other people before, but you kind of took it to the next level. So let's go over your team real quick, and then you just talk about it, how you came up with it, why you played it, and what you thought the metagame was going to be. So let's start with the 50-point black card. Oh, and one thing to note, like nothing on your team is more than 50 points, which is like, it's like you're kind of like going, following like the trend of like the Forest Carnage Surfers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like to play into the power creep,
Yes.
Stronger
And
things, less points.
This Blackheart, we've only seen a couple events, really. I think 3 big for us at least, where we've seen Blackheart. And this definitely has usurped the spot of the big Blackheart. This 75-point one from Rise and Fall. This is the Wheels of Vengeance one, 50 points. This is basically like a TK taxi type of guy, right? Because he can move 2 people with him.
Yeah, it's essentially like a 3-person TK.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And it has Pulse Wave. And it's like 4 clicks. It's outweighed up top, correct?
No, he has Empower up top.
Oh, up top. I thought you had to take a click to get to Empower.
No, he has 2 clicks of Empower and then 2 clicks of something else. But
okay.
He usually stays on his 2 top.
Yeah. So he's got Spin and Influence Ring. You're playing of course, the Masters of Evil, Iron Inquisitor. Oh, this is also a mystical theme team. So that's kind of why you kind of have to run one of these Masters of Evil mystical guys, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing Kezar, the 50-point from Avengers Forever, with the Space Gem, so more taxi. And then the old favorite here, Tri Sentinel, the only. And we'll talk about the retail, right? Because the retail is different than like later iterations of the retail, because people are asking you about placement. Yeah, so that's a big one, right? That actually makes a big difference. And then of course we have the ubiquitous Scott Porters. You play both of them. One with the Sinestro Core ring, the other one with the Zero ring. I'm assuming the white shirt's the one with the Sinestro, right?
Yeah, he gets it for free.
Yeah. And then, of course, the All-Stars, the 3 Wendigos, 45 points. Can you imagine if you played like 6 of them? That's like 2 Carnage Surfers. But anyway, and then you went with the sideline of Chthon, who was on Blackheart, right?
You can change it every game because it's at the beginning of the game when you select.
Okay. So did you actually change it?
But nah. It
No,
was on Blackheart
yeah, it's
100% of
always
the
on
time.
Black Heart, right? +1 stats, and then he takes damage whenever you get an action token. And then you have Ghost Goblin, and then this search for Amlet's Tomb. That's the I day one that was legal. I remember you playing that, and I was like, wow, that is that good that it's taking up a sideline spot, right?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that, and then Scrappy, obviously, because you have animals in Scott Porter.
Yep.
And then Destroyer Prime, and then King Killmonger as so your only two Masters of Evil guys are Ghost Goblin and King Killmonger. Um, did you find that you wanted any of the other ones in your game? In your games, like you're like, oh, I wish I had this guy instead. At all?
Not just having the three I have is
Enough.
perfectly well rounded.
Yeah. Okay. And then the maps were the the two small Daily Bugle, Wakanda, and then Hunter's Jungle. The big one. Did you ever use that one?
I practiced for it, but I never played against a team that called me to go to it.
When was it? When did you want to play on it? That's what I want. Because I feel like you always want to play a short map.
I do always want to play a short map unless I went against animals. I
Ah,
practiced against the animals on that map because it's kind of hard for them to get into certain areas where I can set up like a defensive shell and then they would move up a little and then I would be able to alpha them before they really
okay.
get anything serious off.
Nice. Okay. And then you got your objects, the steel mesh fencing. Is that the ESD one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then anchor mount. Okay. That's your standard stuff. And then uh your tarot cards. You actually played six.
Yeah.
So you the star, that's the sixes or ones or sixes, and then you have pentacles. Which ones were these? So you can just
So Pentacles was charges plus 2 because I
okay.
have a bunch of charge
Yeah.
pieces. Page of Swords is Steel Energy is 2. Self-explanatory with the
Hmm.
Wendigos.
Hmm.
Two of Wands was actually a really interesting call. It is hit characters have Battle Fury until your next turn.
Okay. Yeah. You were talking about this. Why is that
Yeah,
important?
that's important. And so when Blackheart ports up the map, when he brings his two Wendigos with him, he can Pulse Wave, hit the Wendigos, give them Battle Fury, and give all my opponent's figures Battle Fury. So say I'm Pulse Waving the Scott Porter, now he can't Pulse Wave me back because he has Battle Fury. The Wendigos have Battle Fury, so they don't have to worry about shape change. So it really like
Mm,
debilitates my opponent, but while also enhancing my main attackers.
okay. And then I see here the Knight of Cups as the invuln because your Wendigos. I mean, all you guys have invuln basically, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, like
really it
four of
was
them.
mainly to make it
Uh,
hard for my opponents to split damage against the Wendigos
okay. And then the Three of Swords was the pulse wave for Scott Porter, and also for Blackheart randomly, right?
and Tri Sentinel.
Oh yeah, the Tricentennial. Oh yeah. Okay. So let's go over. Oh, why'd you play this team? Or like, I'm sorry. Let's start with how did you come up with the idea?
Because when Blackheart was first previewed, I figured he was pretty unique in the fact that he can bring multi-base characters with him.
Okay.
So I immediately knew there was something there, but I didn't know what exactly. And it wasn't until just a random night at League, we were just spitballing stuff,
Yeah.
me, Jose, and Alyssa, and I had the idea like, oh, I'll just bring up Wendigos. That sounds fun, cool. And then it wasn't until I actually played the first game where I realized, oh, I can pulse wave,
Hmm.
give out the wounded tokens, and then these two guys are in front of you and just ready to go.
So you have triple pulse wave on your team.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So do you remember obviously when the magic was pre-errata?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was nuts.
this is basically we're talking about the OP kit, the OP set magic super rare that before she was errata, she can basically port your team across the map. And this is just a balanced. Yeah, I guess it's balanced because he only goes up his range, right?
Yeah.
and he has to go to a hindering, but he makes a hindering.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the turn, he makes the hindering.
He makes a hindering, and he has to port, but he has to go to a hindering when he ports.
Yes.
So it's and he brings two people that they have to be mystical, right? Or is it a share keyword?
Monster or mystical.
Mystical, yeah. So it's definitely a definitely more balanced version, right? Because the magic everyone got to go through, right? Not just the shared people or whatever.
Yeah, the magic
So
was nuts.
yeah, so this you found a way to, because Patrick Booth actually played. So if you look at your team and his team from back then, where he had two Wendigos too with the magic, you're doing three Wendigos with Blackheart. So it's kind of,
you guys are
you
like
thought
on
up,
the
you
same
came
path.
up with this, spitballing in league, and then what made, because I remember I was watching you didn't have Kazar on the team,
Yeah, not
and then
originally.
and you didn't like you only had two Wendigos. So what made you decide to change it around?
So when we did the Vegas event, the ICQ, I realized that as much as it had pained me at the time, the big Blackheart from Rise and Fall just wasn't pulling his weight. It was an
Mhm.
85 point investment, and he was barely doing attacking. I essentially just paid 85 points for a hard to kill leadership that just so happened to have prob, and I needed more from that. I essentially just needed him to be somebody I can rely on, but not somebody who would be able to hemorrhage points as well.
Mhm. And when you were building this, what teams or what archetypes were you expecting to see at the
Uh,
Invitational?
I was definitely expecting like the defense shell, definitely the Black Lantern teams. I figured there was
Okay.
at least going to be two of those, and then there was a lot of talk about people being hyped up on Ghost Rider, so I was definitely knew he was going to be there.
Yeah. Surprisingly or unsurprisingly, I think Ghost Rider archetypes were the most in the weekend, because it was just if you just looked around, it was just, you can always see the orange base just looking over. He's like, oh, that's Ghost Rider. That's Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider. Yeah. So definitely, Ghost Rider's huge. Now, there was also, obviously you expected quite a bit of Masters of Evil guys, right? All over the place.
Yeah,
There was a lot of those, and your team gets around that quite easily because the Wendigos and Tricentennial don't care.
yeah.
Um, and how many? So when you went up against these Masters of Evil, Chase, specifically King Killmonger, like, did they do anything against? Like, did they even cause you any issues? Because the
No
rest of
one
your team
actually.
basically has they all have items.
Yeah, well, no one brought out King Killmonger. It was thought of like they would be like, "Oh, do I bring him out? Do I
Mm-hmm.
not?" And they would immediately look at the Wendigos and say, "Well, you're just gonna hit him with the Wendigos, and he's not gonna get the rollout." So they would keep in like Inquisitor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a great call, because I was watching, throughout the day, especially in the top eight, everybody's shelling up, and they're all shelling up around either Inquisitor or Killmonger. And meanwhile, on the other side, their main attackers all have equipment, and you're just like, crap. I got to go across, and hopefully he misses the roll. And then there's the the community tokens, and then the Queen of Wands, or things like that, or High
Yeah,
Priestess, and
all
just
that.
like, great, now I can't do anything. So this is it's so cool, because I've seen games where you just like, you lose a whole bunch of guys, but then it's like 60 points,
Yeah,
right? Like, it's like, oh, two Wendigos and a Sentinel. Like, oh man, that looks good. Like, yeah, you got 60 points. Now I'm gonna hit you with my other guys. Or even there was a game I think you lost. I saw it was like you lost all your Wendigos, and you lost your Tri Sentinel, and then here comes Scott Porter and Masters of Evil and Kazar. So it's, and Blackheart. So it's like, man, it's you just have waves. So that is it means that you can handle all kinds of different obstacles, right? As opposed to just like, I'm gonna expect only these teams, and if I play against anything outside of that, I lose. So you're like, I can handle these main teams, and then if anything else comes out, you can adapt, because like Did you expect camo?
Yeah,
You did.
because I
Oh,
I was I was
oh,
shopping around a camo team with Alyssa.
oh, that's okay. That's probably because I'm like that. People were talking about it, but no one even really played at any bronze events. And then, sure enough, there was a couple of them there. Um, but okay, so let's talk about the event itself. The Swiss rounds was 5 rounds. We had 25 there were 22 players, but 25 were there. Just 3 of them were judges. So, um, just also to note, 19 out of the 22 teams had a Scott Porter. So we're gonna have to do something about that. We'll talk about that later. But let's talk about the 5 rounds. What was your record?
I was 4-1.
4-1, and you were the what seed were you going in?
I was the third seed.
Third seed. Okay. And what'd you play against? What were the 5? Do you remember?
So round 1 was the bye.
Oh yeah, that's right. So for those listening in the Invitational, if you won a regional or an ICQ, um, you get a first round bye with 300 points at the Invitational itself. So it gives you incentive to actually win. Now, if you're already qualified, it just passed down to the next one, but you actually have to win the event to get the bye, which Anthony did. So, all right, go ahead. So it's round 2 on.
So yeah, round 2 I played against Jonah, Black Lanterns, which I had practiced against this team time and
Mhm.
time again. So I really knew that matchup in and out. Wasn't too crazy. And then round 3 was against, I believe that's when I played Clay,
Okay. The defense shell, Ghost Rider defense shell.
which was his defense show. That was a really tough game.
Yeah. Okay.
Round 4 was the game against Nick, and with his quad surfers.
Servers.
And round 5 would be against Caleb with his
Yeah.
scientist team.
So, because I know 2 of those rounds were against defense shell teams. What's your plan against those? Because you said Clay was a tough one that you got by, and then Caleb was a tough one that you ended up losing. So what are what's the strategy against those?
Well, going into the match against Clay, I had already had an idea of what I needed to do,
Mm-hmm.
which was I knew he put his 2 elevateds in like an L shape.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do, what my plan was going in was I needed to destroy one, which I could do with the Wendigo and Blackheart's Empower, would bump the damage to 4. I can destroy it, and then I would be able to get a Pulse Wave off with Blackheart, and then Blackheart would have brought up Scott Porter, and I'd be able to get his Pulse Wave off, which would
Okay.
take out Kale, put Kraglin like 1 click from KO, and it'd spread out the people who he separated from Ghost Rider, since I knew he wouldn't be able to get everybody near Ghost Rider.
Okay. And then but yeah, because you have spin on one of your guys. Did you ever use that to separate them so you can do that? Like how
So,
often were you able to use it?
uh, I mainly used it for repositioning my team,
Oh, you're okay.
but I did use it against Kevin's Ghost Rider, but I didn't use it against Clay's because his was tucked behind another character and
Yeah,
I couldn't
okay.
see him. And the character in front of him had stealth, so I couldn't even see
Okay.
his Iron Inquisitor.
Okay. And okay, so then let's talk about Tricentennial because that, to me it seems like Tricentennial is like the unsung hero because he's the one that gives you the wound tokens, gives them the wound tokens so that Wendigo can do his thing. Um, Also, with the did you get to use a lot of his breaking blocking to do extra damage
Yeah,
all the
definitely.
time? Yeah. So what Tricentennial does whenever he breaks a blocking terrain through anything, everyone next to that takes 1 penetrating. So, uh, and now explain why his retail is better than the ones after him.
His retail is just better because it only checks if no other colossal retaliation power has been activated. Whereas with your newer ones, they would check if no friendly character has been placed this turn.
Yeah, that came up a couple times, huh?
Yeah, like
Because
twice.
yeah, because you're like, wait, you're like, nah, I didn't use retail yet, so I'm good. It's like, oh, great. Okay, and then in the top 8, let's talk about the top 8 here. What would you who'd you play? What happened? What'd you think?
So the round 1 of Top Cut, I played against. Oh man, I'm blanking out right now. Oh, Brandon
Mhm.
with his camo.
Come on, yeah, that was a great game, by the way. What was the
Yeah,
score?
I didn't. The game was so intense, I forgot to write down the
Yeah,
score, but it was like
uh, uh,
145 to 140.
yeah, it was like no, you won by 1 point.
Was
Whoever
it?
was there, yeah, you won by 1 point. I think it was. It might have been that game you won by 1 because I know Brennan lost one game. He lost one round to somebody by 5 points, and he lost
Oh, he lost to me by 5 points, and he lost to
but
Nick by one
Nick by
point.
1. Yeah, that's heartbreaking, man. And he was like so close. So, uh, what was your plan against Camo, and did it? I mean, obviously it panned out, but it seemed like it was really really close.
So the original plan didn't work. The original plan was to be able to get in, get a pulse wave off with Blackheart, and then just let both Wendigos swing on his APOC with the amount of attacks they'd be able to get. He wouldn't be able to succeed all his rollouts. I would be able to punch out the APOC, and then I wouldn't have to worry about all the Blades rollouts for the close attacks on Camo, Genesis,
Mhm.
Pegasus Cap, and it would make life easier.
Okay,
But he did
but
a
what
really good
happened?
job at coming forward just a little bit, but not enough where I can just get to him with ease.
Okay, um, and then in the top 4, you played against.
That was when I played Kevin.
Oh yeah, and that was on stream. I was kind of sad because it was essentially over by turn. It was actually essentially over on turn 1. Because, right? Because if I recall, he moved up and then you did your thing on turn 1. Right? He didn't.
No, it
Yeah.
was turn two because he did nothing,
Oh,
and then
he just passed on turn 1.
actually no wait, I'm sorry.
No,
That
that's what
was
I'm
that
saying.
was the one game where I lost map, so I went first.
Oh, you went for
I
you passed and he moved and then you went. Yeah.
Yeah, I moved up my Blackheart with the Inquisitor and swapped to Killmonger because all his dudes were equipped, and then I just win it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was gross because you went up there with the Black Heart Pulse Wave and then here come the Wendigos. And then, but I think by the end of that, it was just like there was a destroyer that came out, and but it was essentially over. That's a tough match because even if you even if you missed a lot, you just have so many attacks. But what you didn't, because if you do hit, then it's like way over.
Yeah,
Because you got through the Soul Sword on Arachnite, right? Like with a
yeah.
stop click, that's supposed to be hard, right? You just like, all right, we're gonna go through everything. Things all gone, and then yeah, that was on stream, so people can watch that. And then what? And then the finals was against Ray, right? Black Lanterns.
Yep. Raise Black
Yeah.
Lanterns, unthemed.
What happened in that one?
Uh,
Killed
he
the sideline.
came up.
You killed ID cards.
Essentially, he came up, killed the Wendigo, and I realized that a question I had asked on the second day of the tournament about Pulse
Or
Wave and War Machine. Do you score his full points or his 10 since his trait is turned off?
mm-hmm.
So I got the confirmation that you score his full points
Yep.
because the trait is turned off. So I figured he's got over 100 points chilling in my starting area. I might as well score that. And then, like 2 turns later, he brings out his
Destroyer.
destroyer, and I realized, oh, my Wendigo can just kill that, just take
Yeah.
it off the board.
So you ended up getting 300 points with killing only one real guy. Oh, something like that, like or maybe 2, because you might have gotten a Scott Porter. I don't know, but I do know you did get 195 points just from sideline guys, which is very hard to do. This reminds me of the ID card days when you call in the ID and you kill the ID guy. You won that way. So yeah, because I saw there was a full, the full point APOC or the full dial APOC coming across. I saw you just ignored it because you're like, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'll deal with everything else, because in within the the time constraints, as long as you get everyone else, APOC's only 40 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. Yeah, well played, like masterfully navigated, because you thought of all the different things. That was really good. Positioning placement was like impeccable, because they were having a hard time getting through your stuff. And are you worried about anything in the future? Like, let's say the metagame adjusts. Like, what would you be scared of? Triple bolt pen blast?
Yeah, like a penetrating energy explosion, not equipped character.
Yeah. Yeah, because if the 3 Wendigos go down, it makes, if the 3 Wendigos go down before you can do anything with them, it's an uphill battle, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're your main damage dealers, which is like, that's really crazy to think about 15 points being that thing. So, all right, well, that's your second championship. 2024 is going to be, hopefully we can grow it some more, because I think a lot of people really liked the pulp bronze, which I know you didn't play, but that's going to be another format that we're going to add as an option for venues to run. So bronze and pulp, but it's going to be bronze pulp. And on a related note with the format, they just announced on Silver Age that they're going to be making some changes on 2 figures that were on the watch list and that had an errata. They're undoing it. And that's Jakeem Thunder and Goblin King, right? So when the main reason is because they don't, like, when they put them on the watch list, it was a different time. And so now, 104 points is really, really low. It's probably not going to do anything. But the new way they're doing it, which is what we're going to be adopting, because when they do that, we do it as well. Whatever the watch list was, it's gone, and it's whatever is printed on the card works as printed. So you can pick any 2 powers except for shape change, I believe, in the defense or something, and that's it. Like before, they put a bunch of restrictions on him, but now at 140, do you think he's with that? Do you think he's viable? 140 in a prime?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me too.
He takes your prime slot, and he's too expensive.
Yeah, that would be a great option though for a BBW if somebody wants to try it. Hint, hint, Anthony.
Maybe.
Okay, so and then the next one is Goblin King. The errata was he didn't have the Power Cosmic team ability on the low points, which means you can outwit him and he didn't have willpower. And then when he chose a power, when he chose 2 powers, it only lasted until the beginning of your next turn. The way it's worded on the card now, or as it is, it's until you choose again. So with Goblin King being the way it was, is he viable at any of the 3-point values?
I would say definitely at 75 as like a tertiary attacker / support figure, for sure.
Do you think it's worth it at 75 points for Clix? That's tough, right? Because you're playing your team itself. It has nothing more than 50, and Blackheart, and I mean, like, Blackheart and him, they're comparable, right? The 75 point Blackheart, and you didn't want to play that, and so this one, yeah. I mean, I think it'd have to be a specific thing that you're trying to do with them. Okay, maybe you're doing the whole Black Lantern thing. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, if you're playing 75 points and he goes all the way up to click 1, is that worth it? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, obviously APOC's better, but another BBW candidate. Yeah, I know, right? It sucks. So here's the third one. All right, now I'm gonna read this to you because this is like right up your alley. Craig is already excited about this because they're doing that. We're like, okay, let's look at some older pieces that can, you know, maybe see some unerratas. Well, guess what? There's the GCBD Cruiser. All right. I'm going to share this with you, and then so we can all take a look. It's the cop car. So back in the day, this was the nuts. Okay. So the pilot ability, prerequisites, Gotham City keyword or PD. They can use improved movement, but once per turn, when GCPD Cruiser passes through a square occupied by an opposing character, immediately place that character in a square within 3 squares and line of fire of its current square and deal it 1 damage, then blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, the original wording before the errata was penetrating damage.
Ooh.
So, but they errated it with the watch list to take away the penetrating damage. Because back then, there was no invincible yet. So this became really powerful because there was nothing you could do to stop it, right? And then it displaces you, so it's like a spin ring as well. And then the other one, the cuff to the bumper, which is good. It basically gives plasticity, and they can't automatically break away, and they can't ignore characters for movement purposes. So that's good. This thing has 11 clicks for 68 points. Of course, you got to put a pilot on it. But back then, and it's perplex, but only to target adjacent characters. Not bad. And it goes down to enhancement. Do you think the penetrating damage being back makes it somewhat viable?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like penetrating damage in forms like that is always good. I mean, there's a reason they took it away from the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
this, you're reading that. I have no clue what the GCPD Cruiser just reminds me. Makes it sound like it's the original Pim tank.
Yes. So I played this post errata, and I won a 68-man rock event because they thought it sucked. But it's like, no, it's still good because the thing was, what I was doing was I was displacing the figures and then using my other guys to attack. But Jake Williams used 3 of these to win Worlds, and that's the one that made the lap dance Harley.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, and because after that, they put on the watch list and then they changed it. So now I think this could be another BBW. I really like the penetrating damage back, but the displacing 3 squares and then having plasticity, and they can't automatically break. You can like cuff them, and they just can't. It's really going to be hard for them to get out. So I think that's something that, I don't know, maybe another BBW candidate, right? Because this is another true bronze figure, right?
Yeah.
So,
especially at One Worlds, that's super dope.
Yeah. I mean, if it's Gotham City, so there's a lot of teams you can build in Gotham City, obviously. And clearly, Scott Porter can become a pilot if you want, because he gets both pilot abilities, right? Because actually no, because you need to have GCPD or Gordon in your name. So the cuff to the bumper part, it needs to actually be a GCPD guy. That's the harder one to do, but if you can get that to work, can you imagine like cuffing someone to, and for example, let's say you gave this a damage reducer. This thing is 11 clicks. It's going to be hard to like punch through this, right? And you had, it's obviously nowadays, there's the Wendigos can like chew through this and stuff like that. But basically aside from that, it's gonna be tough, especially if you're cuffing their main attacker. It's gonna be hard for them to get out. So I think this is something that we can definitely look at for BBW. Okay, so now moving forward to the 2024 season, are you looking forward to what different types? Because obviously, I know how you normally work is, all right, I'm qualified for the next one, and then I'm gonna mess around for a few events and try some stuff.
Yeah.
What is it that you're looking forward to trying?
The GCPD Cruiser.
All right. Here's okay. You know what? I know I talked about this last time, but I should definitely make a post that's highest performing GCPD cruiser, Goblin King or Jakeem Thunder gets a prize at any set event, right? Because that's gonna
That's
be tough.
awesome.
I know Kevin tried to play this when he came back because he's like, oh, I'm gonna try the cruiser, and then like the animals just chewed right through it because Cosmo just turned everything off and just like just killed it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, because like the maggots just chewed like just empower, take three, okay, three, okay, you're dead. But yeah, I think that would be a challenge. That would be a challenge for sure. Um, is what else is there? Was I gonna say? Was there something else? Oh yeah. We are going to be banning one of the porters. So I know most people said the white shirt, and that's obvious reasons. But you actually think it should be the black shirt. Give your argument. Make your case.
The community tokens are just incredibly strong in the right hands. Being able to reroll vital things that just should never be able to, you should be able to force your opponent to reroll is just really strong. Like your someone senses, their shape change, their kingmonger rolls, being able to do that to your own destroyer rolls to get them out a little bit earlier, or if you really need to roll something to not take damage, like an example would be from the Infinity Gauntlet. You roll a 1-2, you take the damage. I'm gonna reroll it because I don't want to take the damage. Or even the I was thinking about using it with the original symbiote special object. You roll the 1 and it leaves you. Well, if I reroll it and I don't get that 1, I get the +1 to my stats.
Okay. Um, see, so those are all good, but I on my end is because I played back in the day when you could prob anything. So you started playing when you can only prob like breakaway rolls and attacks, right? Like you came in like when you really started playing that's when they changed the rules, right?
Yeah.
Like right. So before that, you used to be able to re-roll anything unless the clause said unless it can't be re-rolled, which is why Migsy has that clause because that's how it used to be back then. Um, like there were some effects, for example, the relic rolls. The rule for the relic just says can't be re-rolled because you can prob it before. Like it's not that you ever could, but like prob didn't have that restriction. It used to say, like you used to be able to re-roll shape change, super senses, blades, all that kind of stuff, right? So in that sense, it's not a big deal for me. On the other, in addition, I really don't like that they took away theme team probs. So this is like, and the number's 3, which is what
Yeah.
the theme team was. So to me, it's just like having theme team again, just like way more, right? Because you don't need line of fire; it just happens, correct?
Yeah, it just happens.
It's just something like he doesn't need to be the one doing it. It's just like he doesn't need to see you. You just do it, right?
Yeah.
I actually think if if it was from the figure itself that had to use it, then I think it'd be more balanced. Because what if you can't see the guy who's rolling Killmonger, right? But it's just at this point, it's just like it's the way it is it's just like a thing, right? That's it's coming from him, but it's not coming from him, right?
It's like when you go to those tournaments and they do the charity probs and it's like
Yes.
$1 and I'll just re-roll it.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. So, but I think we will be making an announcement soon. I know that Silver Age just announced that they're doing a whole bunch. They've added a whole bunch of stuff in their ban list, and I know that there was discussion that like, hey man, why isn't Scott Porter on there? It's like, well, they made that figure for the for like the Silver Age format, right? Like, so
Yeah.
like it'd be weird, but I think. But what do you think? I mean, I personally, I like the figure, and I like how it works because it makes a whole bunch of things playable.
It
But
brings
but the
theme
fact
into a
that like
necessity.
what's that?
it brings theme to like almost a necessity,
Yeah.
and he's the perfect support. Both of them are the perfect support
Yeah.
combined for every
Whatever
theme.
team
So
needs it.
yeah,
Yeah. It's because like I was thinking I'm like, oh, it's Doom Patrol missing. Well, they're missing him. Well, now it's fine. But that's like now it's like too much, right? Because I kind of want to say in the top 8, I feel like there were maybe was Caleb theme team? No, he wasn't, right?
yeah.
He
Caleb
was
was the
scientist.
scientist team.
Yeah. And Clay was in theme team. Kevin's was mystical. Your monster, right?
I was mystical.
Mystical. Um,
Ray was unthemed.
on theme, and Brandon was not.
Brandon was
Oh, he was. He
Oraco.
was Araco. That's right, because they're all. And then Nick was uh,
Uh,
the order,
the order.
and then is that it? Yeah. So there was
I
what
believe so.
two non themes, and really the Black Lanterns basically is a theme team. He just decided to put a Sakarian Iron Man.
Yeah, Saki and Genesis.
Yeah, like you know, um, but yeah, I think the Scott Porter makes it little too much. Also, like we've always said in our thing, we can't have like 80 to 90% of field being played with one thing. It becomes too homogenous. Like there are like little things, but it's like everybody knows. Like okay, we all know that we have the pulse wave knockback, we have the community tokens over here, we have the what ring are you giving him?
Yeah.
It's like yeah, so that's gonna be something. Lastly, when do you think you guys want to do your ICQ? And tell us where it's gonna be.
Well, we're gonna have to think about that a little bit more because we were just told that we can't use that spot after
No.
all.
Oh, we were gonna, dude. This was gonna be at the Dippin' Dots warehouse, guys. It would have been awesome because we did have the top 8 there, and it was awesome because it was just free ice cream. But so you can't. No, oh, that sucks. So, but then we have to use it again. And then what bases will have to be the one? That was fine, right?
Yeah. As of right now, it's looking like it's gonna be bases, but we're still trying to find another spot somewhere that'll be open the whole time, and we don't have to.
So it can't just be on a. We can't do it on a Sunday where you guys like how it was last time.
Well, like even if we do it on the Sunday, it's still they still close at like
Oh no,
an
I mean
earlier.
at the warehouse. They said no
Uh,
because it was fine last time.
well, yeah, because it's our boss's boss that we had to ask this time. So we had
Oh,
to go 2 steps up the ladder, and he was like,
dang.
Nah, I'd rather you guys not."
Yeah, damn, that sucks. All right, well, dang it, I was really looking forward to that one.
I
But
was
okay,
too.
so yeah, dude, that was. I mean, it's also a lot of space too. So you know, so the anything you're looking forward to in like I know we haven't had any previews or anything, but I think Alyssa's is going to be the next one in February. So you're gonna obviously gonna be making that one, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Um, so you have any other ideas you want to share, or anything that you think people that aren't familiar with the format, they're like, hey, look at like these are cool interactions, these type of things, whatever. Just this is our chance to
Uh,
like plug the format.
like I really love the Wes's team. I think I might take a crack at that. The Red Sun
Rain,
Wonder
yeah,
Woman
Rainbow
with the
Raider.
19 defend Rainbow Raider, and
Okay.
that was just so cool. I every time I looked over and I saw it, I started geeking
Yeah.
out. I loved it so much.
He went he went 1-4. But I think one of his he was like he could have probably gone 2-3, but it was like it's really close. But it's hard because he only has 4 pieces, and they really it really relies on them, that shell not dying,
Yeah,
you know. So because if one of those 4 go down, then it like if the Wonder Woman goes down, if the Rainbow Raider goes down, it just like that's it because now it's like oh it's off. We'll pop them right. Um,
yeah.
one thing that I do like though that Jonathan Murray was playing and want to know what you think about this. Nighthawk Prime with time platform. He said it didn't. He finished 9th, so he was right there. He said it didn't die once because they just did not want to invest any of the turns trying to fight that thing. So do you think
I
that could
mean,
be a viable thing?
that's incredibly valid. Like Nighthawk
That's
Prime, I remember when I was walking and observing some of the games in the first round. I remember telling Jose that I did not want to play against the Nighthawk specifically, and I didn't even know he had a time platform at the time. I definitely
yeah,
wouldn't want to play against that because I hit him once, he's gonna go back to the starting area, and now I have to still continue to deal with
yeah,
my non-increasing values.
yeah. And he said that he was surrounding it with some characters, so it's a shape change on a 236 with the
It's
time platform,
that's
and you don't get a bonus. That's tough. And I'm sure there's like barrier markers and stuff around. So I think that might be a way to go with Nighthawk Prime without him just dying, because that's been always the issue. Was like they could just get up to him and they kill him, right? And then that's a lot of points that you just give up. But now it's at least something that you can think of trying, right? So
yeah.
the fact that he finished 9th meant that it means that it's probably viable, right?
It's fringe. It's on the cusp, and it's just gonna take a little bit of something
Mm-hmm.
for with the next
You
guy
want
to push
to
it over.
plug before because I know it's already been a while. Anything
Uh,
else?
I think that's it, really. Just support the Bronze Age
Yeah.
format.
Hey,
Continue to
dude, this is
build diverse.
the king of the format right here, guys. The king of the Anthony. Um, you just put a target on your ass because now that you won twice, people are gonna be gunning for you. You be ready?
They didn't stop me the first time.
Oh, first 2 times? Uh-oh. Oh, the gauntlet has been thrown, guys. So we might have to put a bounty on your head on the turn that you're on events that you're not playing BBW teams.
That'd be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
Roland did that at one of the Vegas events. I
Mhm.
remember. If you beat somebody who had won an event, you got like an
Oh yeah,
additional
yeah, yeah. I
prize.
remember that. Yeah,
That
yeah,
was pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. So we might have to do that. A special thing like might have give out like tokens or something. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, man, thanks for the conversation here. That was fun.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
nice insight on your thinking and you know the analytical mind that you have for this format, which is good. And I think that definitely gives you an advantage, and because you do your homework and you do
Yeah,
deep dives and stuff, and so it works out really well. Congrats again, and
thank you.
I'll see you soon, right?
Yeah, dude.
All right, buddy.
See
So
you later.
until next time, guys, remember only bad players blame the dice. See ya.